report, just to remind everyone of the various sections that are available, including cash balances, receivable aging for contracts, receivable aging for service invoices, trade payables, and then some project information, including projects completed in the last X number or N number of days, projects signed in the last N number of days, and the current backlog, and we've recently added over-under billing data so that we can get a feel for where we stand with our projects. And then there's a brief summary of some payroll data for the last N number of days, including number of employees, hours in the regular overtime and premium category, plus any paid time off, and both the net pay and the total payroll cost for the payrolls paid during that time period. Now, I'm going to, and by the way, this window that I'm looking at is from Datalink Viewer, which is a software package or tool that is not very expensive. It's about $25 per machine, and it permits us to view, print, export to Excel or export to PDFs, etc. Any reports that are written in Crystal Reports, a report writer program that I used for this. When we open up Datalink Viewer, we see a list of any Crystal reports that this particular machine has viewed with Datalink Viewer. And the flash report that we're looking at is what we call a CFO Flash Report version 5. And when you double click on it, you should get a list of what Crystal Reports calls parameters. And you can see there's a number of them. Once we set these, you shouldn't have to change them in most cases, except for the as of date. Now, the as of date is easy to drop in if you just grab their calendar tool and click on the current date. Notice that these other parameters involve controlling what is included in the report as it's displayed. Do we want to hide the cash balances? Most people wouldn't want to, so we'll say false. Hide contract receivables, true or false. Hide service receivables, true or false. Hide the trade accounts payable data, true or false. Hide the project's completed data, this little section right here, true or false. And because the project's completed data has a time frame to it, we can control the number of days that we look back for completed jobs. Hiding the project signed data and the number of days we can look back on those. Do we want to hide the backlog data, which includes the over-under billing information? Do we want to hide the payroll data? And then we have the ability to specify how many days we look back for the payroll data. And typically, you might use 7 days for weekly payrolls, 14 days if you're biweekly, 15 15 days back if you semi-monthly, or 30 days back for a monthly payroll. And when we've got our parameters set, there's an OK button down here somewhere. There it is. When you click OK, now I just put in the current date, April 5th, 2018. So there's not much useful data in the sample company because all of the dates in the sample company are 2015 dates. So I'm going to rerun it with a date that makes more sense for the sample company. And I'm going to put in 2015, 06, 25. At least I'm trying to. There we go. And so now you can see this makes a bit more sense. In the cash balances, it shows us the last week's activity summaries for deposits and disbursements in each account, the current balance as of this date, and any transactions that have been recorded for future dates already in the system. Quite possibly you might see payroll recorded. Today's Thursday. Tomorrow's payroll may already be recorded in the system, and so it might show up in a disbursements over here. But these are future transactions that have already been booked. This is a summary aging of our contract receivables. By the way, there has been some question about how much drill down capability we have. I should point out that most Sage 100 contractor clients have become spoiled. Well, spoiled implies that you shouldn't have the right to it, but you've become accustomed to world-class drill down capabilities. Our drill down capabilities with Crystal are somewhat limited. If you see a strange number, and I just double-clicked on that section and it brought up the cash balances section, and if I double-click on a specific account, it shows the activity in somewhat limited and cryptic form. And so you might be able to figure out what that $231,000 deposit was last week, came from the County Board of Education, what disbursements were included in the $193,000, what future transactions have been booked already, and so on and so forth. And if we just click over here to come back to the report, we have similar drill down capabilities with the contract receivables. Unfortunately, it continues to be somewhat cryptic. Over here, these are job numbers. And so if we wanted to see what the receivables were that were included in the aging summary for job 186, this is what was out there. Again, it's not what you're accustomed to with Sage 100 Contractor. Similar capabilities with service receivables, trade payables, etc. I should point out that a flash report is not intended to be anything other than an indicator of areas where you may need to pay attention. To problems. So for instance, if you see contract receivables and your over 30 days receivables are a crazy number, a big number, you could try to drill into it from here, but you're not going to get as satisfactory a picture of the data as you would by just saying, okay, I need to look at contract receivable aging and go into Sage and run your aging report in detail, and then take it up with whoever is responsible for collecting receivables, or take it up with yourself if that's your job. Same thing with payables. If we are looking at backlog that's being isn't as big as you would hope it to be, then you want to start talking to your salespeople as well, or your estimators, whoever is responsible for bringing work in the door. The over-under billings, you know, we might want to look at that job 215, the job 222 here, because there's a big underbilling, $215,000. And so, again, you may want to take that up with whoever's responsible for billing that job. This just gives you a feel for how many employees you're currently employing and what they're really costing. It also gives you a feel for whether there's heavy use of overtime or premium hours, and the like. That's the basic report. We can send it to a printer. We can send it to a PDF. We can send it to Excel, although I have to point out that if we send it to Excel, I'm afraid we wouldn't be particularly impressed with it, because this has got all sorts of information in all sorts of different columns. So I would probably not send it to Excel.